The fluorescent lights of Lincoln High School's hallway flickered above the tide of rushing students. It was third period, the usual chaotic shuffle between classes, and the air was thick with noise, slamming lockers, hurried footsteps, laughter that masked tension. Aisha Thompson moved steadily through the crowd, her chemistry book hugged to her chest. Her denim jacket was slightly frayed at the sleeves, but she wore it with pride. Her tightly coiled hair bounced with every step, her deep mahogany skin a striking contrast in the mostly indifferent crowd of students who sometimes whispered when she passed. Aisha had been at Lincoln for a while now, ever since her family relocated from the south side of Chicago to this suburban town for a fresh start. But a new zip code didn't mean peace. The stares, the comments, the quiet exclusion, they followed her. Still, she carried herself with a quiet confidence, one passed down by her grandmother, Rose, a civil rights warrior who had marched in Selma. "Never let them dim your light," Grandma Rose had always said. And Aisha had listened. But today, that light would be put to the ultimate test. She was halfway to her locker when she felt it, a rough yank at the collar of her jacket. The force jerked her back hard. Her book slipped from her grip and thudded against the linoleum floor. Laughter echoed through the corridor like a slap. Aisha turned around sharply. Standing there were three boys, grinning, smug, unbothered. The tallest one still had a fistful of her jacket. They were known troublemakers. Popular. Loud. Untouchable. Well, the leader smirked. "Where's the fire, Aisha? Off to write another essay about oppression?" The crowd around them grew instantly. Phones were out. Faces leaned in. Some chuckled, others just watched. The tension was electric, and cruel. Aisha's heart pounded. She had heard their jokes before. Comments about her hair. Her clothes. Her voice. But this was different. This was physical. This was public. And something inside her snapped, not in fear, but in resolve. She didn't yank away. She stepped forward. Her voice was low but firm, slicing through the laughter. "Let go of my collar. Now." The boy raised his eyebrows, smirking. "Or what? You gonna cry in front of everyone?" She didn't cry. She moved. Aisha's hand shot up and gripped his wrist. In one swift, practiced motion, thanks to years of self-defense classes her dad had insisted on, she twisted his arm off her collar and shoved it down. The boy stumbled back, surprised. His friends froze. The crowd gasped. She knelt, picked up her book, then stood tall and looked around. Her voice was calm, unshaken. "Anyone else want to try me today?" Silence. Every phone kept recording, but no one said a word. No one laughed. For the first time, the power had shifted. That clip exploded online within hours. By lunchtime, Aisha was all over TikTok, Instagram, and every student group chat. Hashtags like #AishaFightsBack and #LincolnHallwayMoment trended locally. Some praised her. Some accused her of playing the victim. She sat alone at lunch, her food untouched, scrolling through comments. A few were hateful. Most were stunned. But the real hurt came when her little sister, Nia, came home later that week in tears after some boys at her middle school repeated lies they'd seen online. Aisha stayed silent. But the fire inside her grew. The school, of course, responded, in the wrong way. She was called into Principal Harov's office the next morning. He watched the video on his screen and sighed. "We have a zero-tolerance policy for violence, Aisha." "She grabbed me first," Aisha said simply. "I was defending myself." Harov, an aging man who'd long learned to look the other way, nodded slowly. He knew the boys. Knew their families. Knew the donations their parents gave every year. You'll have to serve a week's detention, he said. They'll be spoken to. Aisha said nothing. What was there to say? The injustice was familiar. Detention was held in a dusty classroom under the loose supervision of Ms. Carter, a no-nonsense English teacher. That's where she met Malik, a quiet student always in a hoodie, known for his coding skills and love of anime. He looked up as she walked in. Saw the video, he said. You didn't back down. Didn't have much of a choice, Aisha replied. Over the next week, the two talked. Malik had his own scars. The same group of boys had tormented him too. Called him names. Ruined his science fair project. Spread rumors. But Malik hadn't fought back physically. He'd gone inward. And built something instead. I've been working on an app, he whispered one day. It's called Speak Out. For people like us. It was genius. Students could anonymously share their stories of bullying, and Malik's algorithm would detect patterns and publish the truth, no names, just real stories. A safe way to reveal what was really happening in Lincoln's hallways. I'm in, Aisha said. Together, they launched Speak Out. Quietly. But it didn't stay quiet for long. Within a week, the app exploded. Dozens of stories, from kids no one listened to, began to surface. Stories of mockery, threats, emotional abuse. All connected to the same bullies. Malik's code verified everything. Aisha wrote captions. Powerful, poetic ones. Truth-tellers. This school protects the powerful and silences the rest, one post read. But not anymore. The administration panicked. Parents demanded answers. News reporters showed up. And the bullies? They struck back. They launched a smear campaign. Called her a liar. Posted fake screenshots. Spread rumors online. Even tried to intimidate Malik. But Aisha didn't stop. Then came Sarah. A quiet, anxious student who had once been close with the main bully. She pulled Aisha aside after school, her voice shaking. He's not who you think he is, she said. His dad's facing charges. His home life is a mess. He's hurting. That's why he lashes out. It didn't excuse anything. But it explained a lot. For the first time, Aisha saw something more than just cruelty, she saw brokenness. She made a choice. She wouldn't expose his family. She wouldn't destroy Sarah's trust. Instead, she focused the app's power on the bigger issue, the system that allowed this to go unchecked. Then Malik found something huge. Old school server files. Emails. Between the principal and those boys' parents. They showed pressure. Bribes. Manipulation. Harov had buried complaints. Overlooked abuse. To protect donors. They had proof. They prepared for the school's annual assembly, an event where students, parents, teachers, and media gathered. They worked for weeks. Drafted every word. Backed up every file. Aisha's grandmother, her health fading, told her. You're doing what I did, baby. Don't stop. The day of the assembly, the auditorium buzzed. Aisha stepped up. Her voice calm. Her spine straight. She told her story. Then shared dozens of others. Then showed the emails. The crowd went quiet. Then murmurs. Then outrage. This school can be better, Aisha said. But only if we stop pretending this isn't happening. The room erupted in applause. Afterward, the boy who started it all approached her. Eyes red. Voice trembling. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to stop. Aisha didn't forgive him. Not yet. But she nodded. Then learn how to start. Harov resigned days later. New policies were implemented. Speak Out became a national movement. Malik and Aisha were invited to speak at conferences. Sarah launched a peer support program. And Aisha? She kept walking. Down the same hallway where it all began. Only now, when she walked, the whispers were different. They were respect. Because she didn't just fight back. She changed everything.